Yo, this is your boy Mikey Mercer, and I am here at Colleton House. No, I have never been here before. You understand? But here it has a lot of history. And I'm about to join historian Maurice Greenidge. I hear this man got so much information, and I'm going to put him to the test. But it's going to be fun, and I want you guys to come and join me on this fantastic tour of Colleton House. So let me go. Mr. Greenidge, sir, how are you doing?
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Good.
I hear this place got a lot of history.
It has.
A lot, so I'm looking forward to learning about it. So tell me.
It has a lot of history. The original owner of this plantation, Sir Peter Colleton, was one of the original proprietors who went out to the Carolinas.
Oh, yes.
And they were pioneers in a sense. But they were also doing something that historically links the Carolinas almost as a parish of Barbados.
Really?
In which case, that parish would be a zillion times bigger than
Barbados.
the country.
So this is like a beautiful piece of property here.
It is. This would have been a Jacobean property, built in 1660s and thereafter. Bits and pieces added. Central staircase to this second story. But let's go this way, if you don't mind.
So I heard somebody told me that there's a piano in here that's over 100 years old. Is that true?
I'm not sure how old it is, which means that it's older than I am. But I know it's a good piano.
Yeah, I heard a lot about this piano, but the question is, does it still work?
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah. All right.
Some of the keys work.
Still working. The property, beautiful. This is.
Let's take a look at this room alone.
Yeah, man.
And because it's a large room, you can have very large
paintings,
large scale.
Because they have to go according to the size of the room.
Yes.
What is this?
Kaftan. That's a ceremonial dress. I'm sure it's an Eastern dress, isn't it? It's an Eastern dress. This will be South Pacific, Australia, sometimes Arabic, but that's a kaftan. This property would have been retained in the family of the Colletons for a century or so. And then, of course, over the last so many years, it has been sold out of the family. And I know that at least two different Australian groups have owned it.
Okay. For something like this to be still here, it has to be of some importance. It looks like almost like a throne.
Go sit.
Yeah.
Go sit and see.
Sit down here. You see, like a.
What would you be seeing from here?
Fantastic view of my property.
You're admiring your house.
I'm admiring my house.
You have a wonderful view. One of the things that I must remind you of, this one is a two-gun lookout. The hillside forts were lookouts, and they carried messages. They would see a ship coming, and they would send the message from fort to fort to fort, either by flag, or by messenger, or by gunfire. And in those days of cannon, it would take a sailing boat quite a few hours after you see him. So you send the signal out. There's a fella coming. We don't know who he is yet, but look out. You send the signal by flag, or you send it by shot, or you send it by horse. And they're looking out all over the place because their guns are Harrison Point. There are guns right under here at what is called Half Moon Fort.
Yes.
And there are fort guns at what is now Little Good Harbor as well. And there are guns on the beach at Haywoods, where the Haywoods Hotel is now. And of course there's a huge arsenal of 24 guns at the Spicestown Esplanade.
Yes, boy. So ideally, This is a very, very, very important lookout.
Very important lookout. You sit on the bench. The area we're looking at with the boats, that is Smitton's Bay. And you notice that 2-3 minutes ago, while we were talking, the new lookout passed, that is our Coast Guard. And that's a very fast boat.
I'm telling you,
That boat was
really
doing
moving.
anything like 40 knots, ripping up the waters.
But I must say though, this view, everything seems so still. And this is definitely a very extremely relaxing lookout.
And in 1660, this would only have been fields. And let's see, another 2 miles, 3 miles to the north would be Stroud Bay.
Okay.
Where the Strouds lived. The Gibbs families, one of them lived in Roadview, and some of them lived in St. James, in the Bennett area. But they were the closest. Then you had Fitz, who went out later. And you had, as I mentioned earlier, you had the Mavericks. And I'm thinking that the Lamberts may have ventured out and come back. But of course, the biggest of all, which we might do elsewhere, would have been John Yeamans, who was at Nicholas Abbey.
Yeah.
So Peter Colleton certainly has, I'd say, the prime property,
spot.
the primest of all.
Prime. Beautiful, beautiful. But I want to see the rest of this house.
Let's go.
So let's go. I figure this is one of the main bedrooms.
Yes, this is the main, I think.
Oh.
His master's pleasure.
Yeah. These things just
And this
ooze
whole
class.
coaster would have had one other thing which we don't see here, the canopy
I will keep all the
over the
mosquitoes
top.
outside.
No, not the mosquitoes. Anything from dropping in the ceiling.
Oh.
The nets would stop the mosquitoes. But most of them would have a canopy over the top. I've seen some of those, couple of them in Australia. And I know that some have been sold to Brazil.
Oh.
They're all over the world. Barbadian mahogany furniture.
In a house like this, the kitchen will have to be fairly extravagant.
Well, not always. Some houses did not have extravagant kitchens for fear of fire. Appurtenances and so on, I suspect that this kitchen may have been altered.
Oh, okay. Oh, but before we get to the kitchen, look at this room here.
Yes. The dining room.
Whoa. Again, I see a recurring theme of very big photos, very big paintings.
All the rooms are large rooms, so your paintings have to be to scale. Otherwise, it makes no sense.
It's true. Right, the kitchen.
Kitchen. That's all you live for.
Food, that was the part of the food. I really interested to see where the food is happening.
In the old days, the kitchen would have been separate and a few feet away from the house.
What is that?
Always worried about fire spreading from the kitchen
Into the rest of the
into the house, the rest of the house, and destroying the house. And what we know about this house is that this kitchen, the kitchen for this house was downstairs, under the floor. And in case of fire, they had water downstairs.
Oh, I was just about to ask because
water tank. If we look outside, we will see the big water tank. And they had what is called a dumbwaiter, and they could pass up stuff and up and down.
can you imagine waking up, opening the windows in the morning and seeing this view?
You don't forget.
Really, really nice.
And remember that Ligon, who fancied himself as a draftsman, complained about Holborn, but when he built, he drew the plans for Holborn House around 1650. He complained that they were just drawing the plans and setting down the houses how they like, and they were hot as hell. This isn't.
Put a little extra thought in this one.
Yeah. Oh, another beautiful. This is even larger than the one downstairs.
Yeah.
Self-contained, has ensuite.
Oh, nice. Man, here is nice. Here is very nice.
Yeah.
A shower, tub, and everything. And these like old-time shutters. The windows. My grandmother used to push out. So I heard up here that there is a museum of sorts.
Not sorts. A splendiferous museum of aboriginal arts and artifacts. These are the old horse stables. Brace yourself for the carriage of 4.
Wow. Do you have any idea who's this person here in the painting?
I believe he's the Lord of the Manor.
That was fantastic. That was amazing. Earlier, I heard you when we were speaking about the lookout. You spoke about 2 cannons.
Yeah.
But you were very, very specific in saying cannon.
Yes.
So
As a singularity.
Yeah, but you're saying but there are 2.
Yes.
So
2 cannons. You would see them with a collar, clerical collar, and probably wearing a cross.
Oh, okay.
And members of the church.
That's cannons.
Hierarchy on one end. But when you're talking about guns, it is normal to treat the plurality without an S.
Ah, so it's 1 cannon, many cannon.
Yeah, yeah.
So
10 cannon.
10 cannon, 20 cannon.
Look in the distance. That would have been part of the slave hut, slave holdings, and that.
Wouldn't this have been like 400 years ago? You said?
Yeah. Obviously, they cared for the slaves, gave them good accommodation. They were valuable. Remember, valuable
This is true.
assets.
Yes.
And you wanted to guard against sickness and against being washed away in storms. So you put them in as good, if you had the money, you put them in good accommodation and took care of them. Because they took care of you. Don't forget that normally the lifespan of a slave in the field was 8 years.
Okay. Oh.
The lifespan of a slave in the fields, 8 years. After that, he has become decrepit, old, and unable to work in any, vigorous duties. He would probably be put pick pong grass with the children, the 8-year-old children. But so if you had enough brains to treat your slaves well, that they could last 15 years working hard, you did that and you reaped the reward. So you didn't have to. Remember something special about Barbados, the turnover will be kept down. But then you wouldn't have to be paying to bring more slaves to Barbados. But don't forget too, that by 1780, Barbados was no longer needing slaves from Africa. We had embarked on the breeding business. You asked about the cannon.
The cannon.
This is one of 2 huge pieces. And this is, as I mentioned to you, the lookout cannon. This is a spotter. And he's looking out. And somebody is always on this, looking out over the horizon.
Make sure
to see when the boat comes in, to make sure that we know who he is, from his sails and his flags. And if we don't know who he is, the signal goes up.
Raise the alarm. So it necessarily was that these were not war cannons?
Yes, they are.
Oh.
They are and they were. They could lob maybe something this size would probably lob something 3 miles out.
Wow. Okay. So this was in the event that we spot someone, we don't know who it is, and they look that they could be.
You tell them to look out. Look out. First thing you do is this, you send the word around. So the word Harrison's Point should have seen it. But we're seeing it here. And Harrison's by the sent us the message even before we saw it, because they are seeing around the corner Strouds. And if they sent a message either by horse or by a fusillade, you hear the guns, you start looking, and then we send it on. So Half Moon Fort is here, they mentioned. Little Good Harbour is here. Everybody is now alerted. Speightstown is alerted. Ashes and Dover Fort are alerted. Right up the coast will be alerted to look for somebody coming. But this is a firing cannon. Of course, you know, this tree is an intruder.
You didn't see this one?
Yes, this tree would not have been here.
Yeah, so we would have had a
just clear view.
A clear view of the horizon.
Yes, clear view.
So Morris, thank you so very much for opening my eyes and just giving me a good solid background of Colleton House. This truly is a magnificent property, has a whole set of history in it, and I truly appreciate you taking the time.
It's been my pleasure, Mike. I like this. I like the fact of looking back at the history of Barbados, its artifacts, its heritage, because this is part of the heritage of the island, and joining the plantocracy with the local people, some of whom date back, the families date back to the era of slavery and the same era in which Colleton would have gone off to the Carolinas. So it's been my pleasure. I certainly enjoyed having you.
Thank you very, very much.
Pleasure.
And this is where I say later, but I want to encourage you guys, when they got the chance, get some friends, get some family. If people coming in, they got some friends and family coming in, come on up to Colleton House and give it a look-see. So much history, and it's cool and nice, and the view is breathtaking, I tell you. So, until next time, God bless and you guys keep safe, all right?